heart attack. Fast, fatal, hard impact. Past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions. Fact, don't ask, grab reactions. Jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused. Call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver juice. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now. Y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before I do begin, this series is one that is actually very different from most of the series I've done on my channel. Even among breaking the ice and good for my eyes. Now, the main difference that does make this story more unique than those two is the fact that Deku, this is actually a female Deku. And it's actually sort of an interesting story that I kind of came up with. Now, these stories, they do seem, in my opinion, very good. That is a personal matter, I know. However, it does bring up a question. Well, is it because they have more of a mature tone to them where relationships are brought to the front of the story and there's actual personal issues that can be more relatable than the superhero characters? Or is it because the characters seem more human with their problems since they're ordinary everyday things? Along with that, I do find it to be very unique. Now, that being said, I believe that's the best way I can put that sentence or phrase. Let's start with Izumi Midoriya. Izumi Midoriya, whenever she was a very young girl, she found that she manifested a quirk one day. And this quirk was very simple. However, it was given a very strange name at the time. She didn't really understand it, but her mother named her quirk, and she really did like to avoid speaking it out loud. And there was apparently a reason for that she would learn later on in life. Her quirk was called the succubus eyes, and it was very strange. She was always made to wear goggles, and her mother seemed very strict on that. Izumi didn't really know why up until the day where she showed off her quirk in school. She didn't really care about the goggles thing because she didn't understand. However, almost immediately, it seemed like a lot of the boys in her classroom, they did seem very interested in her quirk. More than most people seem to be. And even then, that was strange. But there's the fact that she could order them to do things for her. She can, well, basically surround herself with minions. It seemed funny at the time. She was thinking about that more and more. As her life progressed, she can become a pro hero who can literally turn the villains against their opponents. That's how she saw it. She saw it as, oh, you're going to try to fight me? Good luck. Look me right here in the eyes, now you're fighting your friend. The guy who you were just robbing a bank with is now your enemy. She can literally turn people against each other using their own quirks, or using her own quirk. And this was very good. However, it was up until around the high school age that she started to see problems. A lot more of these apparent interest. She couldn't just order people around and get them to do what she wanted anymore. To her, it seemed like this form of mind control was gone. It seemed like these people just had undying love for her. And that's kind of what she did start to understand with the whole phrase, succubus eyes. Apparently it was the same quirk her grandmother had. And it's one of the reasons why they moved far away, or she moved far away from her original home. Eventually arriving in Japan and somehow settling down with her grandfather. It was strange. And after a few incidences during her high school days, and even early adult life, she has sort of drawn out from society. She's very weary around men. She's developed a sort of phobia around them because of some traumatic experiences. And the fact that, well, officers they have had to be involved, and people they almost landed themselves in jail for it. However, Izuki didn't want to press charges because she knew it was her quirk's fault. Now, with that being said, the charges were able to easily be dropped. After it being proved the quirk was at fault, and Izuki she wasn't really harmed in any way. Now, it was more psychological than physical, and I'll be honest with that. She just one day stopped wanting to be at work. She couldn't really shake her boss's hand. She couldn't really interact with some of her coworkers. And some of them they did notice that. Her boss did listen to Izuki with a request, however. She was transferred to a separate branch and given a new job title. And even after talking to, thankfully, one of her higher up employers, she was able to get a night shift position where she would not really be very much in the office. She's able to live at her apartment and do work there at night. All she really does is handle these certain things and send them back over. And that sort of snowballed into her staying at home all the time and only ever ordering things online like groceries and even certain things she does see on television. Now, with that being said, we do actually have her today. She just got done sorting through a few files and even putting things in order. Even putting together a presentation she's doing for her boss. While she won't really be in the office to do it, she will at least be put on the phone. And she is actually very excited for that. She's kind of gotten a bit more nervous with public speaking. And with the way her routine is, she never runs into anybody. It's super late out. It's gotta be, 3 in the morning by the time she finishes her job? And that does actually get her thinking. Her standing up and stretching as she just walked towards the front door. Her getting outside and actually going to look around. Her stepping out as she just draws in a deep breath and let out the cold air, or the warm air that does show her breath outside. It's a nice cold night. Her actually walking over to the railing and leaning on it, trying to think. She does feel bad about the way it is. Right now she's in her late 20s and, well, it's been a while since she's been out in the daylight. She has seen the sun, but she doesn't really step out or interact with people. Now that she thinks about it, the only real interaction she has is with her boss or some coworkers who do email her and occasionally do message her to try to hang out. She does feel bad about it. She does still talk to some of her friends from her old job or old position, and they do seem to be very much concerned for her. And you do actually have where she does turn her head after hearing something. Her actually seeing a stray cat, she believes, as it's currently just clawing at a door, and she does stare at it. Her actually somewhat going to turn and ask if the little guy is lost. The cat actually turning towards her as it does just meow. And she does look to see that her neighbor, who usually does leave food out for the cat, it's apparently all gone. Her actually going to walk inside, walking to the kitchen and getting a can of tuna. Her walking back out and she's going to open it up and sit it down. As the cat does run over and going to start eating some. This being where she does start to look down at the cat. She does notice that the cat, well, it doesn't seem like a stray. Her reaching out her hand to pet it, as the cat does start to purr as it is eating. She does find it to be quite strange. Her neighbor, from what she does understand, he's a pro hero, so he should be sleeping right now. But it is nice that he does feed the strays, or at least set whatever amount of food out he can for them. It's such a shame. She feels bad for the cat, but, well, her mother does have allergies, and the times that she does come to visit, they act up very bad, so she's going to have to be careful. Now, it does seem strange, though. Her neighbor, if they're asleep right now, why didn't they set up food before they left? This is what she is thinking, as she actually is going to stand up and walk back into her apartment. Going to find a small little bowl and just fill it with some water. Her walking back outside and going to set it down. As the moment she'd actually bend down and go to try to squat down and go pet the cat again, you do actually have where a voice can be heard. Excuse me. Her response freezing, as she stays frozen for a second before just asking if anyone's there. Hmm? Yes. Her slowly turning her head to look up. The moment she actually does see a person sitting there on the railing, she's going to turn away. Her hiding her eyes, asking the if he's a man or if they're a woman. Hmm? I'm a man. Okay, please don't judge me, but my quirk is it has something to do with eye contact. Please, just don't. Hmm? Ah, okay. Now, the man is going to asking her exactly what is she doing with his cat. Hmm? Your cat? Yes, my cat. Now, she has tried to explain that her neighbor didn't leave out any food, and Aizawa he does remark that he was out. Him going to hold a bag, as she does somewhat try to look at him before seeing a plastic bag in his hand. And she does go look back away. Her turning around, asking if he would happen to be her neighbor then. Hmm? Yes, I am. Okay, sorry, I thought you were asleep and you just surprised me. Hmm? It's all fine. Miss Midoriya. And it's, well, you know, I'm not married. Ah, I see. The name's Shoto Aizawa. Now, he does go to get off the railing, as he does bring his feet over, and Izuki does slightly turn her head. She's able to make out that this guy, he does have the cat run over, or the cat just run over to this guy as it does meow at him. Him going to bend down and pet the cat, as she's able to make out his face. He looks like he hasn't taken a razor to his face or chin in a minute. And even then, he's got long black hair and a scarf, and he wears all black clothing. Oh, he must be a night shift hero, maybe. Well, crime doesn't sleep, I should just think. The man actually going to look up towards Izuki, as she quickly does go to try to turn her head. Um, sorry if you're affected by my quirk. I'm just gonna. No. The man actually is gonna ask her if she's going to be okay. I think I'll be fine. Now, she does turn to Aizawa, as she does still keep her eyes closed, informing him that she is very sorry and that she is going to go back into her apartment. Aizawa kinda confused, as he just asks her what her quirk would be. And she actually doesn't try to inform him, trying to give the entire explanation as Aizawa he finds it to be kinda strange. Asking her if her quirk works on physical touch, and if she is scared of people, since the way she was acting. Hmm? Yes, my quirk applies to physical touch, but that's only after a long time. Well, it's like my grandmother's, but more testing during high school showed that, you know, physical touch is also bad through long periods. I see. And you're afraid of people because? It's mainly men. Oh, I understand. Sorry. Now, Aizawa does actually go to activate his quirk. As whatever he does, so he does ask her to please look at him. And she actually does somewhat turn her head a bit, seeing that his long hair isn't by his neck anymore, as she just sort of look up confused, as she makes direct eye contact with Aizawa, and she actually is somewhat going to turn her head and go to bring up her hands to defend herself or try to hide her face, as she doesn't really hear anything or hear Aizawa do anything. It seems kind of weird. Her actually kind of confused. As she just kind of turn her head and look at Aizawa more, who still is using his quirk, informing her that, for right now, she should be aware. His quirk is the ability to erase quirks, and for right now, her quirk is not active. She can look at him and talk to him. However, he's going to tell her when he turns it off, since it does dry out his eyes. And Izuki just sort of just stares at this guy for a second. It seems very strange and weird. This guy, he's, well, trying to look at her? Her actually turning her head completely. As Aizawa, he does make up both of her eyes. They're a starking contrast to her hair. A nice dark blue. It does sort of make him laugh a little bit. Him actually commenting that she does actually have very pretty eyes. And she does sort of kind of turn away, going to crouch down and bend down all the way. Basically, forming her body into a ball and informing him that she knows, but she's also very scared of them. Ash has walked back into the apartment. Now, Aizawa, he's kind of confused. However, he does go to turn around and apply some eye drops. Izuki walking back out after a minute, as she does have her goggles. Whenever she does walk out, he does turn his head to see her, kind of about to start laughing. However, he does hold it back as she does walk out and sort of stand 2 feet away from him. However, she does actually go to look over the railing. Now, the cat is still silently eating its food while purring. And she actually does ask the hero if he can really, talk to her, or she can really look him in the eye, or really just, interact with him and talk with him that way. Hmm? What do you mean? Well, I just. My track record for interactions is shoddy and bad. But thank you for doing that. It's been a long time since I was able to look someone in the face. Especially, you know. Now, Aizawa, he does gonna bring up his hand. However, Izuki, whenever she does actually somewhat turn and react to it by somewhat jumping a little bit, he does gonna bring his hand back down, putting it back on the railing, informing her that if she wants, he can help her out of that little bubble. And if she does really want to, he can try to help her with all that. Granted, the goggles, he can't help with that though, since if her eyes are a mutation-based ability, then, there's that. And the physical touch thing, she should just wear gloves. And Izuki should just try to inform Aizawa that she does wear gloves whenever she does go out, but she doesn't do that as often now. And that she's kind of lost one of them. Now, she just get a little bit more comfortable, sort of cracking a little bit of a smile, but it does still seem kind of forced and nervous. Aizawa informing her that for right now, they can start out small. They can have conversations, and every now and then, if she does feel comfortable about it, they can sit down and talk in person. However, for right now, they can just limit it to, this. Him saying as he does still look out, talking about how slowly but gradually he could probably help her. Granted, it will take time, and it will be sort of, unnerving for her at first. And she does actually somewhat turn her head, bringing her hands up as she tries to explain that she really couldn't ask him to do all that. and that it would be, very bad. Hmm? I see. Well, if that's the case, what if you were to pay me? Hmm? Pay you? But that was an offer. Why would I have to? No, 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 no. Not with money. Anytime I'm out on patrol, if you notice, happen to see him pointing down, and informing her that if she happens to see any stray cats around or out, that she does what he would usually do when he's home, and leave out food at night. In Izumi, she actually does somewhat turn her head, as she does see that the cat is somewhat at the front door to Aizawa's apartment, going to paw at it, as it does seem like it's ready to go back inside. And she does somewhat smile at the cat, thinking that he must be really full right now and just wants to go to bed, as she does sort of agree. Aizawa actually getting her phone number as she does sort of walk back inside. The moment she does get back inside, she is going to run over to her computer and go to email a friend, or really even just text a coworker she used to work with, trying to inform them of the entire situation. Now, she does eventually get a response, as it's very early in the morning at this point, and she does talk with him about how she talked to a guy. She talked to a guy. And while her coworkers, they're trying to, yeah, that's good, that's alright, that's an improvement, she's panicking. Now then, with that all being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed this one. And let me know what you guys thought of the idea. And with that being said, I do hope to see you guys in the next one shot or mini shot.